Battle droids were the backbone of the Separatist army, but not all of them were the flimsy B1s we're used to seeing. From devastating annihilator droids to deadly assassin units, the Separatists unleashed a massive variety of specialized droids during the Clone Wars. Today, we're breaking down every major battle droid in Star Wars canon. And some of these machines are way more terrifying than you might think. But of course, where else could we start but with the classic B1 battle droid? The B1 battle droid stands as the most recognizable unit in the Separatist army, with its skeletal, humanoid frame eerily reflecting the insect-like appearance of its creators, the Geonosians. Debuting in the Phantom Menace during the Naboo invasion, these droids quickly became the standard infantry of the Confederacy of Independent Systems, or CIS for short. Although often dismissed as cannon fodder because of their limited intelligence and poor combat ability.
What a terrible shot. Ah, well. It's my programming.
Bruh.
Their true power lay in their overwhelming numbers, flooding battlefields and overpowering enemies through sheer force. Throughout the Clone Wars, B1 battle droids popped up in nearly every major engagement, yet they were usually portrayed as hopelessly clumsy, barely able to handle basic tasks, let alone take down a Jedi. Despite their shortcomings, the B1s were surprisingly adaptable, filling a wide range of roles within the Separatist ranks. Some were designated as commanders, sporting yellow markings and rallying troops with surprising ferocity, sometimes even high-fiving each other for lucky shots. Security droids fought to the bitter end, guarding critical locations like prisons, among other important sites. Then there were rocket droids, equipped with jetpacks to maneuver through space, and even firefighter droids. Though considering their battlefield record, it's probably a blessing that they stuck mainly to combat roles. Finally, the heavy battle droids, who typically wielded rotary blasters. Judging by their clumsy grip on a fire extinguisher, trusting them with a minigun feels a bit optimistic. In their defense, there's a real reason the B1 battle droids ended up so clumsy and chatty. Originally in the Phantom Menace, they were intended to be efficient and serious, but as the war dragged on and demand for more droids skyrocketed, cost-cutting measures forced the Separatists to install cheaper CPUs. This downgrade in processing power made them less capable in battle and contributed heavily to their goofy, talkative nature in later appearances. George Lucas even pointed out that this shift was intentional, symbolizing the wear and tear of the prolonged conflict on both sides. The B2 Super Battle Droid was the Separatists' answer to the B1's obvious flaws. Imagine sending a B1 to the gym, slapping some heavy armor on it, and telling it to bring twice the firepower. That's basically the B2. First stomping onto the battlefield in Attack of the Clones, these droids made it clear from the outset that they weren't playing around. Unlike their predecessors, the B2s didn't need to scramble for a weapon. They had built-in wrist blasters, giving them a deadly edge. Another major upgrade was independence. Where the B1s required constant instructions from a central control ship, B2s operated autonomously, carrying out complex strategies with minimal oversight. They were tougher, smarter, and far deadlier than their spindly cousins. Often deployed alongside B1s, these brutes became the backbone of the CIS ground forces. Despite their bulk, B2 droids were surprisingly agile, something highlighted in The Mandalorian. Naturally, the Separatists weren't content with just one type of heavy hitter. They quickly started crafting specialized variants. Some B2s sported shoulder-mounted rocket launchers, while others took to the skies with jetpacks, becoming rocket droids that latched onto enemy ships during intense space battles. But perhaps the most chilling development came with the cortosis-reinforced B2s. Cortosis, a rare material known for absorbing energy, could even short out lightsabers upon contact. For Jedi who were used to slicing through droids like butter, this was a serious wake-up call. Fortunately, Anakin Skywalker managed to destroy the only factory producing these nightmare machines before they could change the course of the war. The BX series commando droids are what happens when someone in the Separatist army finally said, hey, maybe we should build some droids that are actually good at fighting, and boy, did they deliver. First appearing in the Clone Wars episode Rookies, these lean, mean fighting machines made a strong entrance, wiping out the entire clone force stationed at the outpost and seizing control of the command center. BX droids were typically equipped with vibro swords strapped to their backs and standard blasters. They could also mimic voices and operated with far more intelligence and individuality than B1 or B2 droids. But their real strength, parkour. Yes, you heard that right.
Parkour!
These droids flipped, jumped, and rolled across the battlefield like they were were auditioning for a space circus, and it actually made them incredibly hard to hit. Even when seriously damaged, many could keep fighting with half their torso missing. For Jedi, they posed a serious challenge, firing blasters mid-flip and dodging lightsabers before striking back with their vibro swords. They were deadly in hand-to-hand combat too, often taking down clones with ease. Variants included commando captains recognizable by their white markings, giving them a look reminiscent of warriors heading to battle. Despite their lethality, BX droids weren't mass deployed like B1s and B2s due to their high production costs. Instead, they were typically reserved for special operations or served as elite bodyguards. But make no mistake, they were among the deadliest droids the Separatists ever fielded. The droid Deca, or as many Republic soldiers and Jedi came to call them, like those damn rolling things, first appeared in The Phantom Menace against Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. From the moment they unfurled, they made a lasting impression with their twin blaster cannons and nearly impenetrable energy shields. Unlike the B1s, which could be taken out with a lucky shot, Droidekas could absorb almost any attack, their shields only faltering under heavy artillery. They were a nightmare for Jedi, whose lightsabers simply bounced off the shield while the droid Deca unleashed a torrent of blaster fire. Their ability to roll into battle made them even more dangerous, transforming from stationary turrets into fast-moving ball-like blurs that could flank enemy forces in seconds. High mobility, combined with devastating firepower and durable shields, made Droideka some of the most feared units on the battlefield. Of course, the original droid Deca was just the beginning. The Separatists quickly developed variants like the droid Deca Mark Winden, which added ion cannons to disable vehicles, broadening their range of targets.
Yeah, boy.
Among the more specialized versions was the droid Deca Sharpshooter. Trading the standard blasters and shield for a precision rifle, these snipers were capable of taking down high-value targets from extreme distances. They were more vulnerable without shields, but their lethal accuracy made up for it during covert operations. Then there was the Ultra Droid Deca, the heavy hitter of the family. These massive artillery units boasted overwhelming firepower, so much so that they couldn't run their weapons and shields at the same time. Because of this, they required support from other droids while firing, making them more cumbersome but no less terrifying. Next, the DSD-1 Dwarf Spider Droid may have been small compared to other war machines, but don't let the dwarf label fool you. These little nightmares packed a serious punch and were often underestimated by those unfamiliar with their capabilities. Deployed in large numbers during planetary invasions, they could be seen crawling across battlefields like a swarm of deadly metal insects. Their compact frame allowed them to hide behind rubble or tight urban corners before unleashing devastating firepower. Their ability to keep firing their energy cannons while advancing made them excellent at pushing front lines forward. What made them even more dangerous was their mobility. With 4 sturdy, articulated legs, they could climb over almost any terrain, scaling walls, debris fields, and jagged landscapes with ease. Their insect-like gait let them remain stable on unstable ground, such as muddy swamps or rocky cliffs. Their smaller size made them harder targets, allowing them to slip through tighter choke points, while their thick, reinforced armor let them absorb considerable damage before being brought down. An upgraded version, the ADSD Advanced Dwarf Spider Droid, took everything that made the original effective and ramped it up. It featured a more powerful blaster cannon capable of sustained high energy output, fire-linked missile launchers for short-range anti-vehicle strikes, and enhanced leg armor that improved stability during recoil. Some variants even included additional sensory equipment to detect cloaked or stealth units. Capable of operating in complete darkness thanks to advanced optical sensors, the ADSD became even deadlier in night operations or poorly lit environments. The LM-432 Crab Droid was another versatile walker employed by the Separatists during the Clone Wars. Manufactured by the Techno Union, Crab Droids came in different sizes, with both 4-legged and 6-legged models for different mission requirements. They were perfect for swampy or uneven terrain, as their armored limbs featured adaptive servos and shock-absorbing joints. These limbs also allowed them to climb steep inclines using gripping prongs and jagged teeth located at each joint, making them highly maneuverable even in chaotic terrain. Armed with 2 belly-mounted blaster cannons, the Crab Droid could engage long-range targets with precision while remaining partially concealed by terrain features. Droids. Its legs, powered by high-torque actuators, could smash through vehicle armor or pin enemy soldiers to the ground. However, they weren't without weaknesses, as famously demonstrated during the Battle of Utapau. A clever clone trooper managed to leap onto a crab droid's head and shoot its central processor, taking it out with a single, well-placed blast. Their top-mounted processors, while protected by armor, were still a vulnerability when exposed from above. The LR-57 combat retail droid is proof that the Separatists had a sense of humor when naming things. Retail droid was supposed to aggressively sell things at first, but jokes aside, it was a serious threat on the battlefield. Designed for ambush tactics, the LR-57 was equipped with 4 powerful blaster cannons arranged for maximum firing coverage. It could lie dormant underground for days, waiting to ambush Republic forces at choke points or supply depots. Using its sensitive dorsal antenna, it could detect even the slightest movement or vibrations in the earth, allowing it to strike at the perfect moment with devastating precision. During the Battle of Christophsis, they served as guards for the energy shield projector, a critical asset for the Separatist defense. Although they outnumbered Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano, their sluggish turn speed and slow reaction times made them easy prey once spotted. Anakin destroyed half of them with his lightsaber and force abilities, while Ahsoka cleverly brought down a wall on the others, demonstrating that brute firepower wasn't enough to guarantee battlefield dominance. The AQ series battle droids, commonly known as aqua droids, were amphibious units created specifically for underwater warfare. Designed by Hyor Chal Engineering in cooperation with the Techno Union, they stood nearly 3 meters tall, towering over standard B-1 battle droids. Their retractable heads allowed for streamlined swimming, reducing water resistance during high-speed movement. When in motion, their feet could switch into propellers, allowing swift and fluid movement across large aquatic battlefields. Blue-colored for stealth and optimized for underwater visibility, aqua droids were deployed during sieges on aquatic planets like Kamino and Mon Cala, where standard units struggled. Armed with retractable laser cannons mounted discreetly along their rib cages, they could deliver sudden, unexpected blasts at close range. Their durable construction made them resistant to underwater pressure, enabling them to operate at significant depth. Agile underwater but clunky on land, they became vulnerable targets once out of the water, often struggling with balance and movement on dry terrain. However, their attack on Tipoca City proved that aqua droids could do far more than just swim. They assembled assault craft underwater, coordinated group strikes, and demonstrated a level of tactical versatility rarely seen in standard droid infantry. That wraps up